Hello there, chat. Don't don't look at the time. Don't do it. I made it here on time and not 20 minutes late. It's fine. I totally didn't wake up right before the stream started. Oh, background noise. Fuck off. It's fine. I totally didn't. Fuck off. There we go. I don't want audio. Alright. Now to post that we're live. Nice to know at the very least that we have some of this sorted. Let's make sure that we have the link sent to everyone that is reasonable to send it. Any place I'm missing? I think here? Yeah, here. There we go. I think that is it. How are you doing, chat? I may or may not have just woken up. It's fine. We can. We're in the flow state. We're in the fuck it we ball zone. I think I know what I want to do because I want to check certain things about the stream, and the way I do that is to reveal the secret third monitor. No, I don't want spoilers. Okay. Alright, give me just a second while I... Shit, I need to connect to the Wi-Fi.
Are you just going to keep standing around or what?
Sorry, I'm just getting prepped over here.
No, that's funny. God damn it, why is everything... Okay, give me just a sec. Should have done this before stream. The fuck you mean, though? Is caps lock on? Caps check. No. So I need to put in a password to something, and for whatever reason, it isn't working. Even though that's literally the password, though. Network key isn't correct? The fuck you mean? Oh, wait. I realize. Fuck off. Sorry about the slow start, we're just... Trust me, it will vaguely approximate to being worth it at some point. I don't have the full setup, so there we go. Hey, I show up in search results. Useful. Okay. There we go. Have a nice way to see chat. Also, there we go. I think we're good. What were we doing? I think we're just leaving. Yeah, I think we're just leaving. Oh, there's something in the staff's quarters. I know we had a little bit of a... We lost Shield Lady. Key to the treasury in Ottolina Palace. Considering the country's great influence, the treasure is bound to be impressive.
What could this be?
Shit ton of money. The titles alone make your postures go rigid. That's it? Damn. Zephyr, dead as fuck. Thank you, loading screen. Hell yeah, free apples. Yippee. What poppable spine I have. Better to wiggle at you with, dear. She who commands the wiggle commands society. I think that's the plot of Footloose or something. I don't know. I never watched it. I think I should watch Footloose at some point. I feel like that's a gap in my, like, knowledge of culture that I need to round out at some point. Got a little middle section with what's that? Lots of apples here. I can't believe some of our people were involved with that horrible lake. I don't know what to say. I'm at such a loss for words. It's okay. It's not like you threw them in there. Don't blame yourself. And this doesn't erase everything that Lord Dohalim has done to make our lives better. It is kind of neat that Dohalim is like the mix-up with his is you don't really like fight him because he's your enemy. You're fighting him to calm him the fuck down. Can't believe Lord Dohalim is going away. What happened to Menacea once he's gone? We'll manage. It's all the more reason why we have to protect this place while he's away, so it can come back to a calm, peaceful realm. Exactly. As long as we work together, Elder Menacea will do just fine. Actual collaborative effort. You think relations between Danans and Renans will be able to carry on just like before? Well, the whole thing was rooted in masters and slaves. When you look at it like that, something might need to change. Yeah, if we want to make coexistence a reality, we'll have to make Danans and Renans completely equal across the board. Completely equal.
Do you sense one of your friends, Noodle?
Have a little crown.
Hmm? You're saying we should check the owl forest?
Lemon. Crunch. I think I've talked about this before, where I sort of Pavloved myself into having a random dopamine spike at the sight of Hatsune Miku. Like, everybody has that one thing that it's like... They see and they just light up for no apparent reason. Welcome to the Lore Silently Loots stream. It's fine. Look, it's, for me, early morning, I say. Almost 1 in the afternoon. Okay, so, you know. Maybe not early morning, but look, I just woke up, so we're fine. Okay. We did a bit of reading.
You all arrived here from Cislodia, yes?
In that case, you should depart via the south gate, rather than the one you arrived through.
Yippee! There's the plot.
After all that, Kisara never came back to see us.
Can you
I'm
guys?
surprised she slipped away without us noticing.
You
Where
got-
did she even go?
I think my computer decided to just
I hope
scream.
this place survives. You think the Danins and Renins have a chance of getting along? We didn't really do much to change things around here, did we?
This realm had its own walls to overcome. And in the end, it was the people themselves who decided to break them down, without any help from us. I hope they keep going. I really do.
Yeah, well, if you say so, I guess. Huh?
All right. I leave command of the Gold Dust Cats in your hands.
You've got nothing to worry about, Kisara. I'll do your brother proud.
Sorry, I thought she was giving
Looks like
command
it's
over
time
to
to
a
go.
cat,
Take good care of Zare for me.
and I was
All right,
like,
Miguel?
what the hell?
You got it. Stay safe, Kisara.
I leave command to you. Cat.
Did you come to say goodbye?
Hello, computer. Are these
Actually,
cutscenes
I was
hard on
wondering
you?
if you could use another companion.
Huh?
Jeez.
Well, we certainly don't mind you coming along.
Normally I'd have the mic a
We just
little bit
figured you'd stay
further
behind
away,
and help rebuild. These people
but
could
my
use
setup
you.
is... I don't have the
I thought
setup
much the
yet.
same thing. However, in the end, something changed my mind. Ever since Miguel died, I've been thinking a lot. About
Wow,
where I
this...
went wrong, what I should have done
These
differently.
cutscenes are really making it
You know,
that
sort
go.
of thing.
I'll
it's
grab
true
the
that our
mic real
dream
quick.
of coexistence saved many Danin lives, but we were naive and short-sighted. I was so wrapped up in my idea of
Hello,
how
chat.
things
You're in my
should be
hands now.
that I didn't see the problems that existed right in front of us. I thought we had been given a utopia, and so I never bothered to look too far past its surface. I chose to be ignorant, and because of that, because of me, my brother,
Miguel's death wasn't your fault, Kisara.
perhaps you're right, but in the end, it was me he entrusted this dream to. I learned that nothing in this life is free, or gained without sacrifice. Now that I know that, I'll just have to figure out what else I don't know.
So, decided to join us?
I have. And hopefully I can continue to protect Elda Menencia from outside the dream world.
Nothing in this life
For
is
the sake
free
of those
except
still inside.
samples. Those are always free.
And here I thought you joined for an opportunity on my life.
In all honesty, I'm grateful to you. I truly am. I don't blame you for what happened. But I must also leave your service. No longer will I be defined by protecting a Renin lord. From now on, when I fight to protect my dream. All I ask is that you do your part, that you fight alongside me. Not just for those who used to believe in your dream, but for those that still do. Dohalim.
Okay,
I
you know
understand.
What if I put
I'm
the...
no longer a lord anyway.
Well, this
Uh-huh.
crew just gets bigger and bigger.
There you go.
All right, where to, team?
Alright, chat, you're to the side of me
We make
now.
for Mahav's
You're on the
side,
tablet
the
I
Valley of the
normally
Four
use.
Winds.
However, I can still see chat because that was what I was setting up in the background. Aha. We're smart. We think ahead. nochi recipe? Round springy dumplings combining potatoes and flour. Pouring some creamy sauce on top of it makes for a scrumptious delicacy. A leaf-wrapped fish recipe. Ah, more combo meter. Yippee! I love having extra combo. How do I? Oh, yeah. How do I mark this? U. I want the double jump. U. Okay, so we're gonna be giving Elfin some Air Jordans. Is there anything in particular I want? Easier over limit. That's so valuable. We're saving up for that. That is probably the most valuable thing you can grab on a caster. Increased boost gauge is pretty good. We'll grab that. Super. Some free boost gauge, because that's always neat. So we can stockpile that a little faster. And counter edge upon enemy defeat. Interesting. Let's go for just easier over limit. All right.
I'm amazed how easily you can move such a giant shield around like it's nothing.
Really? It's not actually as heavy as it looks.
It's made of titanium.
It's really reassuring to have someone like you protecting us, though.
You know, I guess I never realized it before. But looking back, I've always been the sort to put myself in harm's way to protect those around me, even before I joined the Eldermenensia Guard. So in a way,
I will say
using
it
the
is
shield to keep you all safe
kind of neat
feels like
that
it's what I was
in
meant to
real
do.
life we
You don't
basically
need
have
to worry
mithril.
about protecting me. I don't plan on relying on you.
That's okay. It doesn't
Like
matter if you do or
titanium
not.
is basically
I don't
mithril
protect people because they
when you
ask me
think
to.
about it.
I do it because I want to, and because I think it's the right thing to do. That goes for you too, Dohalim.
Me?
Yes. You see, you and I both want the same thing. We have the same goal. That means it's in my best interest to continue to protect and keep you safe as well. Even now.
I'm not sure how much protecting I'll need either, but I appreciate the thought. I'm
Alphen?
sure you'll do us proud, Kisara.
Alphen, you don't feel when you
Right.
get stabbed.
You can
Maybe
all
having
count on
someone looking out to prevent you from getting stabbed is a good idea. Just a
What
thought.
was Kalzalik even after in the end?
Isn't it obvious? Clearly he wanted the throne for himself, and was gonna have his goons execute Dohalim to get it.
He had to have known he couldn't hope to defeat a lord. He should have run while he had the chance, instead of holding himself up in the palace.
Maybe he thought he couldn't run? Either way, the outcome's the same.
So he got desperate and decided to go for broke?
One might argue that he was another victim of mine, in a sense.
Huh?
There is no greater calling in life to a Renin than the crown contest, yet I refused to take part. The shock he felt at that must have been truly immense, enough to drive him to revolt, even though doing so meant defying Renin hierarchy.
I know I've said this before, but Danans and Renins wouldn't coexist here if it wasn't for your stance.
But that was no lofty idealism on my part, nor do I feel any pride at what occurred.
Spare us the pity party. You literally just joined us to uphold those ideals.
Shion!
No, she is absolutely correct. I shall speak no more of my misgivings.
Yippee!
Do you sense one of your friends, Hoodle?
Mahag Sar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited.
That's not
now.
the owl's name.
I wonder what kind of lord we're gonna find there.
It doesn't matter. If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that.
That's the can-do attitude we expect, Law. Alright, what are we...
What could this be?
Hello, dubious creatures. I guess I'll take you on.
I'll take you all on!
If they rush you, you gotta jump for cover, okay? Like astral lightning condemn! Thunderbolt! I'll stop it short! Thanks, Kisara!
You're mine! I'll run you through! You're mine!
Oh yeah, you can tag people in. That's so nice.
Someone's feeling lively. Now, you are in tip-top shape.
As soon as I'm done here, come help out.
How could a girl ever say no?
These little... Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! Great!
Shit, I forgot. To swap out the party a little. How do I change party? There we go. Alright. Law is fine to have. I want Renwell to... We'll see what Dohalim can do.
Out of our way!
You're mine! First strike! Right in the eye! Luna roll away! Stardust! Mirage! You're finished!
Gemini Aqua!
Elusive deity!
Hear me!
Here I come! First strike! Finished! We did it!
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Here's cut them apart. Astral energy!
Say no more!
Hey, Renwell can still
like it could be worth
pop up for
something.
the combo.
Out of our way!
You're mine! Be still! I'm here I come!
Glacial spear!
Come and face me! Dragon form! No escape!
A charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop it.
Dragon form!
Here's a
It's over! Blow away! Take that! Dragon form!
Here's evil!
Look sharp! Lightning tiger blade! See that? That training's paying off!
We managed to pull through. There's something in the water. I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
Do you talk about the pond a lot?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in,
Look, chat.
but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renin eyes.
Look, chat.
Bear in mind,
I'm being
our
silly.
rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble. I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod. You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you.
You must
Here,
be
let
new
me show you how
to
it's done.
this concept, such as nature. Alfin, you silly boy, you must not know what a fish is. I don't. I wasn't paying
What do you
attention.
think about that spot?
Good idea. I'll go for that one. Ha!
Shrug.
I've got something.
Hell yeah, fishing mini game. Fuck.
Anybody could reel in that.
Guess it's important to stay calm.
I almost didn't. Let's go fishing.
All right.
You're weak now, fish.
I'll catch something bigger next time.
Could have been
Ah.
worse. At least you caught something.
A bot. Ban. Why isn't the ban button? Ban. There you go. Go to hell. We don't fuck with bots here.
something. Anybody could reel in that.
Guess it's important to stay calm.
We almost failed again. Chat, we're fishing today. Would you like any fishing stories? Because I don't really have them.
I've got something.
Wrong button. Yeah, I've never been,
It's not bad, per se.
Could have been worse. At least you caught something.
Okay, I think we've done enough fishing. But
And
yeah,
that's all
I
there
never
is
had
to
the, I never had the patience
Wow.
for it in real life.
Seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Women want her, fish
Looks like
fear
we're going
her.
to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes.
We
You
need
wait for a
Kisara
bite,
in
and then the
that,
real
that
battle
fisher
begins.
hat.
Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente.
The,
So, if
You
you,
know,
ever feel like
the one he
fishing
loved
when we've
using
got a little
before.
downtime, just let me know.
he died.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Just starts having a breakdown immediately.
Okay!
Been fishing a long time and built up a good collection of equipment for it. The more you catch, the more equipment they can hook us up with. Miguel's rod. Kisara? I don't think that's illegal. Fish fear her. That's where her KO prevention skill is. That's so funny. Also, mid-air evasion. She can't dodge normally. She has to jump to dodge. Whew, you're a lifesaver. Now I can get back to my sorry, forget I spoke. Carry on, don't mind me. Infantry shield.
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
Equipment. Okay, it makes sense that the standard infantry shield is worse than your Royal Guard shit. Alright.
Hey.
Hmm?
Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
They've
I know,
spoken
right?
plenty.
But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey, though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come
You
you walk
brought it
together
up?
like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean
Good.
Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Okay,
Having guards
but you
doesn't
know.
necessarily mean the one
It's
being
why
guarded is
wrestlers
weak.
have bodyguards.
No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances.
It wouldn't hurt to
Perhaps
rethink
I'll
our
give it some thought,
relationship.
after all.
Immediately
Does
go
that sound all right by
grabs his arm.
Of course.
You might want to
What?
start asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Shit, we have yet another puzzle mechanic, which will require Dohalim to not be fucked up.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I
It's
noticed. Especially with that open
I was
back.
about to say, the open bag.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Makes it easier to get
Every
backstabbed, though.
guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, Law?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
Interesting. So it boosts the effect if half the effect is remaining, but you still get the full duration too. Yeah. Nochi. Elemental defense up. We can have that, and we can have Kasara make it.
Done. This is sure to give the others some much needed energy.
Ah. Law has
Mind if
something
I
to
join
say.
you, Law?
Oh, hey, Alphen. What's up?
Nothing. I was just surprised to see you weren't training for once. Got a stomach ache or something?
You know I don't literally train around the clock, right? I do take breaks.
Do you? It seems like you're training every chance you get.
Well, yeah, it can't be helped if I want to get stronger. Still, it's important to let your muscles rest every now and then. That's what my dad told me anyway.
Zephyr said that?
When I was a little kid, yeah. I would get so excited whenever he came home. I always followed him wherever he went and tried to learn as much from him as I could. He said, it's good to be passionate, but don't overdo it. Just like there are times when you want to take a break from studying, sometimes your body wants to take a break from training too. I was always rushing around and forgetting to rest, so he ended up telling me that a lot.
That definitely sounds like him.
It's nothing to get sad over.
Look,
Still,
a couple
I can't help but
protein
wonder
shakes
if
and a
that
real
was
big
my
nap.
dad's way of teaching me
Does
the dangers
wonders.
of rushing into things too quickly. Then again, maybe I'm just overthinking things. I wish I'd had more time to talk to him about this kind of stuff. See you guys tomorrow.
Growing boy. Pat's belly. He's a growing boy. He can fit so much food in him. He is growing boy.
You guys ready to hit the road? I know I am.
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
Yep.
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danon slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renin doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of
Convenient.
coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman. And this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure
Lots
is
of
one
dialogue.
rugged road.
Yippee.
You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers.
Ah,
For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
and you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danon, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danons in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danons in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are
Sorry,
you?
I'm just...
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
I'm just thinking of the very funny thing that is, Dohalim having a terrible infrastructure policy of like, look, I could use taxes to fix up the roads, but why?
Together, we've got this! Watch it! Flaming thrust! Elusive beam! Lunar Rondo!
I'm not so good with airborne targets.
Negative gate!
The airborne scoundrel.
Sounds like a job for you, truly.
Rip and tear! Dragon Swarm! Flaming thrust! Fluid gate! Begin! Mirage! Here I come! It's over!
This one's mine.
Elusive deity!
Do it.
Take it! Kisara! Commander of...
Hell yeah.
Phoenix Cyclone. Steering tech.
What's a visually aesthetic?
It's over! Resonate with the earth! You're mine! Stalagmite! Flaming thrust!
Well, someone seems in tip-top form,
Nothing new about that.
and still as humble as ever.
Negative gate! Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite! First strike! Take it! Talon hurricane!
Sorry, I got distracted by this glowing orb for a moment.
There's always room
Real
for improvement.
moth brain moment. Hello, big boy.
All right.
I love puzzle enemies, which aren't implemented the best in this game.
There's nowhere to run from my heart. When he slows down, that's our chance. Take this!
It's like trying to keep up with a wolf.
Elusive deity! Prepare to be free! Tornado drive! Elusive in a bind? Prepare to be sealed.
I get it. In a bind.
Found this more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing.
No further!
Yeah, I need to.
Elusive deity! You require a hand. You're ready? So fire! Roll away! All finish you hear it now! Can't get out of this! Take it! You're finished! Take it! Lunar Rondo! Elusive Dragon Form!
Just to see what happened there as you crossed me. Shouldn't have done
There we go. Combo the shit out of him.
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
Be still! Time to do it! Totally! In an instant! Impact block!
Ooh, pretty.
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Rinwell.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course.
Crocodile Crusher. By having them, some of which serve as bonuses that can be enjoyed after clearing the game. Press Y on the art screen to switch between. Okay, so we have the ability to have it expanded. Full expanded roster.
I
That's
sense
good.
a strange power from this.
My exploits are bearing fruit.
Sweet. We can now set a few more. What was our current? We have lightning.
Visibility along this
Yippee.
path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen.
Look, sometimes you need the fresh air.
Together, we got this! No escape!
Here's evil!
Here I come! I'm on everyone's feet!
Art expert, come
Sia, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done.
Here I come! Heal! Destruction!
Spear.
It's over!
Freeze Lance, this one's mine.
Here I come! I begin! Destruction! Elusive deity!
I'm ready.
Far enough!
Annihilation. Lightning.
Elusive deity! Totally! In an instant!
Hell yeah, combo.
We work well together.
A shit one, but one nonetheless.
This one's mine.
Dragon shell! Resonate with the
Annihilation.
Do it, Dragon shell!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
That's some power you wield.
You're the one who did the heavy lifting.
Where are we going?
It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're comfortable with them then?
I used to live in
Oh,
the
yeah.
mountains,
We used to run up and down these slopes all the time for our training exercises.
which actually led to a funny
Don't get
thing,
careless.
because
Don't tell me.
I'm only getting not in your dreams.
You're mine.
It's a duel of the arts.
Thank you. You're mine. Destruction. Got flyers.
I've got it. Let a marksman handle it.
All yours.
The enemy reveals art clear.
You'll soon see about that. Let the marksman handle this.
I'll smash you. Elusive deity. No further. I'm ready. Kisara. Command
what? Sorry.
Phoenix Cyclone.
Here goes.
Fight going on, but yeah,
How are your weapons holding up? That's not to give me any idea.
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
I used to live in the mountains, and as a side consequence of that, the cross-country program that I lived in, the cross-country program there was, brain do the brain thing. It was very hilly, so I had a lot of experience with hills,
More Danon ruins here too.
which made it so that when
What were
I
people
then
even thinking
moved
back
to
then?
Texas for a
Trying to
time
build anything around here.
in
Maybe
PE,
they just had that
whenever
much time and energy on their.
you had to do laps where
This one's tough, but we have no
after each lap you had to run up and down a hill. You
You picked the wrong fight. Take this. You're finished. Destruction. Castle.
Leave the enemy's arts to me.
No complaint here. You're finished. Take this.
Where are you going?
You're finished. I can carve through armor. First strike. Far enough. I'm ready. Take them all. Look sharp.
there we go, Forza combo. But yeah, whenever I needed to run up and down bleachers, as part of the laps, I'd always be the best at it, because the people in the area only did much running on flat ground,
Lady Fortune must truly be watching.
whereas I basically
I sure have built
spent
up a sweat with this
a
hike.
decent portion of time growing up in hilly terrain.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Where are you going?
Two charges of that. Hell yeah.
We work well together.
Like a finely timed bomb.
That's my cue.
Shut him down.
Negative being interrupted.
Here's a healing arc.
Be still.
Negative gate. Resonate with the earth. That's quite a talent.
Your father once made the same remark.
Behold, the earth pulse. Tectonic fission. Benediction light.
Well,
Could have been worse.
we don't need legs. Those are a myth.
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldomenencia of its enemies and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along, but it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking
You have a
about?
big fucking
You know how to
shield.
hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Ah,
Does that mean eating
arrival of the
vegetables,
mom
too?
friend.
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Shut the fuck up,
Rinwell,
Rinwell.
I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Something wrong?
My
You
thoughts
look like you're
exactly.
deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being and forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes, I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me
They're
greatly.
freedom fighters.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, But Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?
Law, which is the soup spoon? All of them? Correct. The soup spoon is whichever spoon holds the soup.
Hey, let's stop for a minute.
What's up? You already tired?
My armor's pretty heavy. I think I need a little rest.
I second that. All of this walking is starting to take its toll on me as well.
What?
Guys walked for 5 minutes.
We can't spare the time. There's places we need to be. Mahag-Sar's capital, Niez, is our destination right now.
But if one of us collapses, it will only serve to slow us down. And in your case, Alphen is the only one who could carry you. Best to rest while you have the opportunity.
Enough already. I need a break, so we're taking one.
I don't need you fretting over me.
Fretting? Hey, it's not like I'm...
I think they parse the fact that Alphen doesn't have that many sensei.
Been looking for you.
Me, why?
He's tough.
Who are you? Said you were looking for me. Why?
Beautiful, precious life.
What the...
That is all I desire.
Then why are we fighting? Who even are you? Take this!
Slow the fuck down.
Not today!
It's weakened.
This ends now! Resonate with the earth! Who the hell are you? Bastard!
This guy's not normal.
His speed is unbelievable.
You mean he even surpasses a lord? Mega ray! I'm all stopped up.
You're my one!
Die.
Be still! Can you take it?
Benediction light.
Here I go. I never miss.
It's too much. Over? I couldn't make it in time.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
Resonate with the earth!
Resuscitation! By the power of water!
Entertain me.
Gemini Horn up! Annihilation! I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
Are we supposed to win this?
Here's a healing art! First aid!
Okay.
Here I go! No further!
Over. Enjoy.
Wow, he ignored that shit.
Death's abyss. Resuscitation!
I'm such a failure. Forgive me. This is my fault.
From beyond! Imbue this vanquish.
Take this.
Take it.
Glacial Spear! Here's evil! Freeze Lancer!
You're finished.
If it's in the sky, it's mine!
Enjoy.
Everlasting dark. Swallow this.
Negative Glacial Spear! Pure evil!
You're finished. Try harder.
Fall.
Glacial Spear! Pierce evil!
Take this.
All mine.
Freeze Lancer!
Enjoy.
Ignite.
Show me your strength.
I'm holding Gadiric Flame! Reload! Confiscated! Lightning! Locked and released!
You're mine.
Enjoy.
Ready and rare. I can carve through
You're
armor.
bruised all over. Did you even notice?
Guess I got carried away.
I'm not always going to be around to heal you, you know.
I think we're supposed to lose this. I have a hunch.
Entertain me.
And if we aren't, I guess next dream.
Enjoy.
I was overconfident.
Take this.
Nothing gets by me!
Enjoy.
I'm such a failure.
Finished.
Oh no, we're supposed to win this. Okay. Okay, what the fuck? Hmm. Wow, that's kind of shit design, having an enemy 5 levels after the... Like, 5 levels higher than the last dude, like, a loading screen away? What the hell?
Then why are we fighting? Who
God, the balance in this game is ass.
Enjoy.
Who the hell are you? Bastard.
This guy's not normal!
His speed is unbelievable.
You mean he even surpasses a lord?
Take
In a
this.
vine.
Tiger Blade!
Anything in order.
I'll bring you back to
Take this.
Take this! This one's mine!
Tiger Blade. Now you see what I can do.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss!
I'm ready to go!
Enjoy.
I'm ready!
Into the shadows!
Not done yet.
Pathetic!
Stay away from my friend.
Well, we have lost. Yep, we have lost. Alright,
Take this.
Here I go.
Enjoy.
No, right. Freaking does it. You're mine.
Fall. Pull it together, Law.
Sorry, right. I'm calm.
Take this.
Here I come.
Die.
You
Enjoy.
require a hand.
No further.
Pathetic.
Here I
Entertain me.
oh, the backswing got me.
Enjoy.
Here goes!
Pathetic.
I don't like the boss design of this game.
Finished.
It is kinda shit. I'm gonna level with you. Kinda shit. It's like, damn. Well, I guess we need to level up a little.
Something wrong.
Not exact.
etiquette.
Not gonna lie, don't like the bosses in this game. I don't think a single boss fight in this game has been what I would consider good design. And I think it's entirely because a lot of them heavily rely on the boost gauge, which I think I talked about before, has an inherent flaw in its design. I think that enemy requires Dohalim to land a hit. So, okay, we gotta bait out the attack pattern and then trap him with Dohalim's move. That's fine in itself, but it's a little bit of an issue when so because winning or losing against a boss is entirely determined on you using a specific character's boost gauge, you basically need
What's that big tower over there?
you basically need the boost gauge to be but basically whatever party member you need for the fight, you need to have not in the party, because that's the only way to get passive boost gauge, which is the only way to, in the middle of a boss fight, get reliable boost gauge, because if a party member gets KO'd, they...
Judging by the stench, I'd say the animals at the ranch are all grown now.
Guess I misread the landing. Not this way, I guess.
But yeah, because of the, how the boost gauge mechanic works, the party member you need to have outside of the fight, which means before you have a full set of 4 party members, you were kind of having to deal with, like, dealing a little bit with the luck of the AI. Because the only way to build up boost gauge when they're in the party is by doing hits. Once they get perks, like, even the perks make it so that it's, like, on kill as well. It's like, on kill is also the other way. They get back boost gauge. And honestly, like, we have an example here. We have these enemies that have an ability that requires some countering.
Pesky airborne scoundrel.
But because of how slow the boost gauge charges, you almost never have a reliable way to actually engage in the mechanic of the fight. In order to engage in the mechanic of the fight, you need to it's pretty much up the left. Because you have to, like, you're up against, like tiers 3 enemies with a boost gauge mechanic. So if one does the mechanic,
Easy peasy. Pahoodle.
so you have Rinwell counter, and that's like the defense you have to do. It takes so long for Rinwell to charge up her boost gauge, even passively outside the party, that
This one will be difficult to predict.
Glacial spear. Here's evil. Airborne beast.
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance.
Glacial
Can they just sit still?
Sia, can you take care of them?
what, brain do the brain thing. It basically means that, like, in most instances, like, and the only way to engage in a mechanic is kind of luck-based, because you need to, it's partially like, hey, does the mechanic come up when you have the ability to engage with it? Which I think is very backwards for game design,
That's some power you wield.
because
You're
normally,
the one who
like,
did the heavy lifting.
normally the mechanics, I mean, I guess one counter thing is like, oh, you gotta pick and choose and be smart, but there are boss fights where the win and lose condition is entirely based on whether or not you had boost gauge at the right time, and that...
Hello.
Oh, hello. I'm complaining about the boost gauge mechanic. Also, they put a boss that's like 5 levels higher than us in an area 2 loading screens away from our last boss fight.
Game design, everyone.
I love game
Yeah, I know.
design.
Yeah, no,
This-
your fucking blue-collared union boy just got off orientation.
Ah.
Actually, I'm already technically a member of the union. I just need to pay like the whole. I just need to pay a upfront cost of like $50, like sometime within a month, and I'll be a member within good standing, and then I'll get to have all the benefits. I mean, they also deduct a bit from your check, but like the bonuses you get are good, and like once you retire, unions just take really good care of you. So effectively, you scratch their back, they scratch yours, which I'm entirely fine with. It just means that like right now, everything I am like taken care of. I am really happy about this. Anyways, after all that, I'm throwing bricks at you now.
But yeah, I was complaining about the boost gauge mechanic, where because of how it
But a
works,
victory nonetheless. We have a
you're
long
very
road
often
yet to
put in
go.
situations where an enemy asks you to engage in it with a mechanic. That mechanic is on a cooldown timer. Okay, that's fine, that's fair, that happens in plenty of games. The cooldown timer is way too fucking long. And if it's in your party member, it's based on luck of the AI, and also in the fact that if they're in your party, they can only build up the boost gauge by attacking or killing. They might have a perk that gives them a little bit of boost gauge at the beginning of the fight, but it's not passive gain. You also lose some of the boost gauge that character built up if they get KO'd. So if it's a really tough enemy and they knock out it while you're charging the way to fight them, they knock out the character that it's linked to, you can no longer fight that enemy. If this was simple, in some instances it's not too bad. I think Xion is hers. The mechanic linked to her isn't that like bad. It's just she has a special button that does a little bit of extra damage to flying creatures. Elfin is the same way. His is just a little bit of high damage. It's just bonus damage. Okay, that's fine. But Rinwell stops spells, which is sometimes needed. Law breaks armor. And shields. Shields that can make enemies invulnerable. Meaning that... And Law is low HP. Both Law and Rinwell are low HP characters. Making them fucking horrific. Because... like, Rinwell is a non-mobile fucking caster. With low HP. It's like, oh. Goody. You have to rely on that surviving to have the mechanic done. So hers is the Mogulu ends all spells. Which, like, okay. That's pretty important. Law is breaks armor and barriers. Which also leads to a very funny catch-22 moment. Because the build-up isn't normally passive, if Law is in your party, and he doesn't have his boost gauge charged up, and there's one enemy, and they have a barrier making them invulnerable that requires Law to punch with his boost gauge move,
Through these lands most
and the
verdant
only
green,
way to
my
build
eyes
up the
alight
meter
for sights
when they're in the
unseen.
party is for them to
Renuncia, pure and
get
pristine.
hits.
What is it you see exactly?
That's not for me to say.
You see the issue?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. I don't think Kisara's mechanic is that egregious, because Kisara's mechanic is,
We should think about eating soon.
Really? Not all that hungry myself.
Don't make me say it again.
Yeah, good idea.
okay, kind of funny. The writing can be a little funny. I just don't like the game design in a lot of ways. There's certainly worse in the series, but this one's pretty egregious because it isn't just the numbers are a little imbalanced, which, mind you, a little bit. The numbers are a little imbalanced. Let's be honest. It's just like how the mechanics are set up. I don't really like. Like Kisara's mechanic isn't that bad. Hers just intercepts. It increases defense and it intercepts charges. What counts as a charge is sometimes hit or miss. The guy we ate shit from, his move didn't count as a charge, even though he is basically like flying through the air like a jackass. So it's like his lunge doesn't count as a charge. It's like, okay, but it, you know, it's just like, I guess, Minotaur shit only. Which is, like, fine. But it's like, that's not too bad because it avoids an attack you can avoid by dodging. So Kisara's isn't that egregious because most of the time what her mechanic stops are moves you can already dodge or avoid normally, meaning that she's an alternate way to deal with a thing you can already deal with normally. That is fine. I like that, actually. So, like, Kisara, Shions, and Alphen, their boost gauge, I don't have a problem with. Because all of it is, like, it's just a little bonus way to do a thing you can already do. Whereas Renwell, Dohalim, and Law are all, like, this is how you interact with the enemy mechanics that you don't really get ways to circumvent. And it means that in a lot of instances, because you want those mechanics to be passive, you're gonna want them outside of the party. Which honestly, yeah, I think we need to take Dohalim out. Swap him out for Kisara. But oops.
Oop.
But yeah, because of Dohalim, because Dohalim is yet another character with a boost gauge mechanic that is basically the sole way to do some fights. Dohalim's mechanic is if you're in a fight with against an enemy that will auto dodge your ass. If you're in a fight with a super fast enemy that basically auto dodges your moves, Dohalim. Okay, I think Dohalim's the most egregious one. So if you're up against an enemy that auto dodges your ass, Dohalim is supposed to provide a counter against that. Except his move is easily dodgeable. Dohalim's thing is he basically puts essentially a vine trap that slows the enemy down. Like, it hits them and then gets them like a status effect that makes it so that they're less dodgy. Which, like, isn't too much of an issue in one regard, but it does make it so that basically the only way to fight those enemies is using Dohalim's mechanic. And Dohalim's mechanic is A, easy for the super dodgy enemies to dodge, meaning that it is very easy to fuck up and lose all your progress, as you have to wait for his boost gauge to fill up. And then use the boost gauge mechanic. And then if you miss, you need to charge that shit up again. And the thing you're supposed to be preventing is dodging. So, you know, that seems like an oversight, mechanically speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the idea is there's small windows where they're less dodgy and you're supposed to hit them during those. Which is fine if it wasn't like a mechanic that you needed to A, aim, and B, wait a year for.
Consider yourself finished.
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
So yeah, we currently... This game makes me dread getting new party members. Because instead of being excited about what new thing that party member can do, that it makes me dread what extra, like, bullshit mechanic I basically need to manage. What bullshit boost gauge mechanic do I need to deal with today?
Look sharp! Lightning tiger blade! See that? That training's paying off! Here I come! It's over! Do it! Still!
I think...
Consider yourself finished!
Because since Alphen and Xion, who you basically start the game with, Kisara's the only party member I think feels like she improves your party because she doesn't immediately come with the caveat that now you have to deal with another boost gauge mechanic. Yeah, she deals with a boost gauge mechanic, but the boost gauge mechanic is kind of... It isn't gonna be the main way you fight that enemy. You're able to just dodge. It's totally an option. You can circumvent it with movement.
Brace yourself! This one's tough! Denied! Get behind me! There are
It's interesting. I just sometimes have issues with how this game is designed. I mean, my gameplay right now isn't the hottest shit, but the issues don't really arise so much during the regular fights. During the boss fights is when it's at its worst. Because you have big single enemy who needs you to have that one mechanic ready, and will sometimes ask you to have it ready faster than it charges.
It doesn't feel really well thought out.
It isn't. I don't think there's a single boss fight in this game that I like. Any boss fight since being introduced to Renwell and Law that I've enjoyed. Yeah, the numbers were a little, like, imbalanced for the Calaglia fights, but, like, those were still fun, even though those fights had some pretty jank number balancing, where it's like, damn, this enemy can basically two-shot you. It's like, that was at least still fun. I don't think a single boss fight after the liberation of Calaglia was fun. It sucks because I'm so interested in this game's, like, story. I want to see what they're, like, building up to. So it's like, it kind of sucks to have to deal with a really bad mechanic for it. Because here's the thing. It is like... Okay. I think a good way to compare it is by comparing it to a game that has a very similar mechanic. So I'm going to make a direct comparison. Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush has a very similar thing going on, where a lot of the quote-unquote party members that Chai gets serve to interact with a mechanic, with the enemies, And they have a special little gauge that you need to see charge up before you can interact with those enemies' mechanics. But the party members, like the charge up for the party members to do their thing in Hi-Fi Rush is faster, passive, and isn't at risk of being lost due to an enemy whacking someone you can't control, like you're not controlling. And the overall gameplay of that game is designed in such a way that you are more, it's like the gameplay of that game
What's this place here? Some kind of old house?
is designed where the enemies are significantly, like, easier to dodge while you're waiting for the mechanic to charge. So that is an instance of this mechanic being done correctly. This isn't...
You continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
This isn't it, basically.
Let's refrain from losing.
Yeah.
I guess we were supposed to explore this area first, even though the other thing is closer? Also, look at these enemies. I cannot engage with their mechanic because Renwell was just slightly charging for too long. I looked away. Was charging, so can't deal with barrier. Okay, that one was on me. I didn't press the right thing, but my point still stands.
Say no more.
I think we can get through this.
Don't let up until it's over.
Who said anything about
It's like,
going off?
look, these are just with basic enemies. At least with basic enemies, is it save or suck with that sort of shit? Where it's like, normally you could fight basic enemies without this problem. Because it's like, oh, that enemy is charging up a special move. That would be good to, like, stop.
Am I on a roll or what?
Well,
I
luck
do
isn't a
think
bright
out of
shiny
the
thing.
ones where it's like you have to engage with the mechanic, but your ability to engage with the mechanic is on a fairly long timer. I think Renwell is an example of an enemy that isn't, or not enemy, of a boost gauge mechanic that isn't too bad, because I think she falls slightly into the same boat as Kisara, where the you can usually avoid the art. You could normally avoid magic normally.
I'll crush you!
So, for that reason, it's like, I think for that reason,
This as valuable as I think it is?
I'm not as miffed about Renwell, but Laws is pretty egregious, and Dohalim looks like it's gonna be pretty fucking bad.
choice.
Let me help.
Smash you! Now I can
This one's
Now we're not.
mine. Tiger Blade.
Destruction! Dragon Form!
This
one's
one's
all
mine.
Dragon Thrust!
Eagle Fly. Glacial Spear. Here's Eagle. Do it.
Totally! In an instant! Impact Block! Here I come!
Steering Dragon.
Crush! That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I think boost gauge mechanics that are pretty good to deal with, I think, are,
Get in, get out.
Tiger Blade. Here goes.
there we go. Trap him with it.
I'm only getting started.
Take this!
I never miss.
I'll smash you!
Far enough. Go in. Do it.
There we go.
Now.
Consider yourself finished.
Our work is done here. Let's move.
I'm right behind you, Shion.
We got some good equipment.
I can't say its appearance is to my tastes, personally.
All right. So I have to swivel my entire head to look at chat sometimes. I don't have my
Actually,
I don't have my setup right now.
I haven't played Minecraft, so I actually also haven't been paying attention.
It's fine. It just means that sometimes I'm not looking at the game because I have to fully turn my head like 45 degrees to look at chat. I don't have the setup done yet. When the setup is done, then I can have less of those fuck up moments because I can then just like glance, maybe like my head, turn my head like 5 degrees. Where was I? There we go. But yeah. That said, this game is very pretty, and I like the story. And in terms of imbalanced games, there are worse Tales games that exist. I think early game balance of Tales of Symphonia, at least the Steam port. I think that one's pretty bad. It gets better. That one's pretty bad. I think Shayna is just generally not a good playable character in that one because she has slow melee attacks. She has slow and short range. And I don't think they do a whole lot of damage either. It's just her melee is so bad. And a lot of her arts are the same way. The main thing that kind of like brings her around is normally she's in a party full of people. that can like hold an enemy still, but there's a fight.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
There's a fight that Shayna's in that requires that you do it solo as Shayna. That one's pretty bad. Hi, hello, Daddy Reflex. You're catching us at the tail end of the stream. Because we've been going on for about 2 hours now.
Let's see. I've cooked, cleaned, and sewn. I think that's everything for today. Dohalim, your spare bracers were getting dirty, so I polished them up along with the rest of your equipment.
Why, thank you, Kisara. I greatly appreciate that.
Maybe it's just my imagination, but you sure seem to fuss over Dohalim a whole lot, Kisara.
Bye.
It is a little strange.
Yeah,
Almost
it'd
like
be
you're
like
stealing
that
his service.
sometimes.
Really? That's certainly not my
I've been trying
intention.
to get
Besides,
stream.
he's not the only
Well,
one I'm like that with.
I'm switching up my stream
I saw
schedule.
your clothes were starting
I think
to
I'll
get
be
holes in them,
streaming at
so I
around the same
stitched them
time
back
as I
up for
normally
you.
do during the weekends.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Kisara.
Which basically just means
I
Saturday.
just like looking after people.
I think my
I
Saturday
wouldn't go
stream's
so
gonna
far
be
as
the
to say
same.
I like it, but I get anxious if I don't.
My weekday
I'd always
streams,
like to help if I
I'm
can.
trying to move them
It comes
closer to the
naturally to me.
afternoon.
Back in the day, Miguel and I used to look after the younger kids a lot.
So,
So that's probably where it comes from.
yeah.
He taught me everything I know, and I mean everything. How to cook with wild plants,
So,
how to sew clothes so they'll
I'm
last.
trying to start them
Without him,
at 12
we never
PST,
would have been able to survive.
However, you're not a
which
lord
would be
anymore, Dohalim. You need to get
what,
used to
2
the idea that people aren't just going to
CST,
wait on you
where
hand and
you're
foot.
at.
Yes, you're
Thomas?
absolutely right. I'm ashamed to admit that I felt
it
no
is
qualms
currently
about doing all
4:19.
that for me.
Yeah, but
As both
you
a
know,
Renan
I
and
started the
especially as
stream
a
2
lord,
hours ago,
one
so it'd be-
becomes too accustomed to those beneath you
Oh,
tending
yeah.
to your every need, both Renans and Danans alike.
Sure, that's how all you Renans are probably raised. But just to be clear, we're not your
which I
servants,
think
Dohalim.
means if
Got
you're
that?
on the East Coast,
Absolutely. Moments such as this provide
it
me with ample opportunity
would
to
start
confront
at
my
4
unease.
o'clock.
It is difficult to tend with my own motivations.
And I won't begin
What
to
do you
decipher
The
the other
truth
side of the
matter
pond's
is that
time
my
zones.
espousal of coexistence in Menancia hardly came from an idealistic place.
Not because it's
That
particularly
instinctive
hard,
unease I
but
feel
because
deep
I'm
within
not going to
serves
check
as
a map
reminder
or
for what
something.
it is that all of us here
I'm not going to
fight for.
check. That's
Don't
it.
be so hard on yourself. No one's going to abandon you.
As
if you
simple
aren't
as-
always perfect.
Looking at her now, I
It
think she's
is.
more like his mom than his servant.
It is kind of funny. Hopefully, this block of time is vaguely close to a reasonable time for most people. Unless you happen to be literally on the other side of the world. It shouldn't be like too late for people or too early for anyone. Or hopefully not too early. So yeah, that's why I picked this time, is because it's an easy one for me to be awake for, even though I did fail a little bit. Don't look at me. Sure, we'll have
Hell
Law
yeah!
make it.
There's no way you can complain about how this tastes.
Let's talk with Kisara.
Sorry, let's talk for a bit.
But yeah,
Maintaining your shield? It's becoming a familiar sight.
Miguel was the one who taught me how to maintain my equipment after I first joined the guard. Now it's just a part of my routine.
Mikko,
brother
you
almost
know,
seems to come
before
up
he
whenever I talk
died,
to you.
starts breaking down again.
That's because we had no other relatives. So it was just the two of us growing up. He was my idol. The one I looked up to and wanted to be like. When I became a
We're
guardsman,
goofy. It's
Lagiel
fine.
wasn't too pleased to see me at first. It was Miguel who really welcomed me aboard.
Lagiel? Oh, right. She was Miguel's second in the Gold Dust Cats, wasn't she?
That's right.
Also,
She's always been a very critical and down-to-earth
I think I was
person.
right to choose
In
this
other words,
time
the complete
because
opposite of a dreamer like me.
we have consistently
You're more
had
idealist than some pie-in-the-sky
like
dreamer.
2 to 4 people,
Even so,
and
that's
that's
my brother's doing.
neat. So I think the
He'd never let me
time
stop
shift
seeing a brighter
was a
world.
good call.
He always did what he could to keep me smiling and happy.
You must have meant a lot to him.
We were kind of going one
He
way or
wasn't just
we're
kind
going on
either.
either
He always
extreme
worked
because
so
I
hard
used
to
to
set
do
an
it like
example
at
for me
6
and
in the
everyone else
morning for
around him.
myself.
He was a true big brother.
It's like I used
So
to
much
do
so that when
streams
he thought I was
early in the
asleep,
morning.
he'd slip out of the house to go training on the
And then
outskirts of town.
Obviously,
a lot
we
about it.
do a lot of the
That's
streams
because I
late
only
at
pretended
night,
to be asleep and would follow after him.
but afternoon. Yay, engagement.
You know what?
Yeah!
I'm at a good stop.
Dude, we're very close to
If
having,
you've got time, how about I tell you a couple more
to
Miguel
hitting
stories?
affiliate.
I guess I'd better get comfortable.
We're actually very close.
I'll take watch tonight.
I think
okay.
we have average 2.4 for the month, which you need average 3 to get
Before we
affiliate.
go, do you guys have
And as soon as
everything?
we get affiliate, I could do funny things like add the funny buttons for people to press. Because I do want to let people have emotes and fun little buttons they can press to make me do silly things. I love having that extra layer of engagement. I love handing people a way to grief the stream, basically. I always love the idea of that. But
You know, to appease Ash, you should get one where I get nuked.
Man, if I can figure out how to set one up where it's just like the little shitty plush version of your character is a missile hitting them. Forgot you're masochistic. Vaguely. Look, don't look too hard into it, okay? But I always love the idea of just having that extra bit to bounce off of. It's always nice. I am a vessel for for physical comedy IRL. It's only fitting that I'm a vessel for I guess emotional comedy elsewhere. That does remind me of a story, because I was talking about it with my brother last night. So there, a bit ago, like a while ago, we had like a brief trip to Vegas. And one of the places we went to is this sort of like exhibit where it's like it's the human body. How do I fast travel? Ah, there you go. So the exhibit was like the human body, like this is what the human body looks like, and they have the body cut up in several different ways and showing the different parts of the body. And in a very funny turn of events, so I have a thing where I don't like looking at veins.
We've reached our destination.
So, blood I'm fine with. Most organs I am fine looking at. It is veins. Veins and the heart are things I don't like looking at. It's the one thing I'm like squeamish for. Now, and so me and my brother are going through this exhibit, and I basically said to them, so yeah, it'd be fucked up if there's a room dedicated to the vascular system, because I don't really like seeing my own wiring. To which my brother thought I was doing a bit, apparently, because as I was saying that, I was looking elsewhere, but they were looking at the sign for the next room that says the vascular system. Like, as I was saying this, they were apparently looking at a sign that says the vascular system. So, they thought I was doing a joke until I physically, like, shrunk in on myself entering the room with the vascular system. Where it's like, oh no, they were joking. As I physically shrivel up on myself. Alright, I forgot. Are we allowed to raise horse now? Alright, chat. Fattening horse meat. I don't know what that's gonna give us. A horse. A fat horse, a fat cow.
Man, I'm so hungry I could eat a...
Eat a what, Thomas?
I could eat a...
Eat a what, Thomas? That's what I thought.
You know,
we're dumb.
You know, I don't ask for violence often. It's one of those things where, like, I was mentally walking away, and then you're like, and then you went, "That's right," and immediately did like a 180 in my head.
Yeah, when you're trying to be the bigger person, but the other guy's petty as shit.
It's like, you know what?
Like,
no, I'm not gonna.
Like,
I'm not gonna do anything. That's what I thought. Okay, fuck you then.
It's like, okay, you know what?
Huh? I think someone's calling out for us.
They could have something they need from us.
You know what? We will address that in the next Tales of Arise stream, where I will once again bitch about the mechanics. Because it will come up, because it's kind of integral to the game. It's kind of one of the core mechanics of the game, and how it differentiates itself from the other Tales games. They kind of had it with Tales of Berseria, but Tales of Berseria's didn't suck. The only character that was kind of like how this game does it is Magilu, and even then... You want to know the thing with with Magilu's mechanic? Magilu is kind of just Rinwell but better. In a lot of ways. So they have the same ability. But here's the difference. So Rinwell is linked to the boost gauge. Magilu is linked to the soul gauge.
Are you just going to keep standing around?
Now,
or what?
Sorry.
Now, the thing is, I'll say why I do this as we're getting ready to wrap up. The thing is, oh, what's the difference between the soul gauge and the boost gauge? Well, the soul gauge, you can, you gain extra bits of soul when you break enemies, stuff, but you can stockpile multiple. It was fairly easy to get boost gauge. All you needed to do was knock an enemy down or stun them. So, okay. Pretty simple. Fairly easy resource to get, depending on the character. I think it is a little harder for Magilu, but though it's kind of what makes Aizen really cool. One of his spells just throws out a soul cage. So if you really needed it, you bring Aizen into the party. Because then he can give people points of soul. Anyways, I digress. The thing I'm getting at is because you could have sometimes upwards to 6 soul gauge units, and you only needed to have 3 to spend 1 to use Magilu's mechanic, that means that you sometimes had 3 to 4 like stacks of your counter spell ready. So even though it wasn't passive, you weren't fucked if 2 enemies back to back decided to do the same thing. So yeah, that's why I think Magulu's was better executed than Rinwell, even though Magulu's has a lot of the same issues as Rinwell's, where they're not passive gain when they're in the party, but even though they're not passives, one is just like, it's like even though they're not passives, one is just better. Because you can stockpile it. And the ability to stockpile it, instead of just a you have it or you don't, actually kind of makes that shit way more manageable. Because at that point it's just resource management. Because then it's like, oh, if you don't have it but you're able to hold 3, that's on you. Like, okay. Like that's fine. That makes sense. That's resource management. That's like an MP system. That makes sense to me. Rinwell has the shortcomings, but it isn't stockable, so it isn't like resource management. It's just, hey, are you lucky enough to have the mechanic open? Mind you, Magilu can do her own mechanic on her own, but that also means that, like, that's less for the player to deal with. Because Magilu's AI was generally programmed to use the counter spell. Anyhow, this has been Tales of Arise. This was Thursday, right? So we have Freestyle Friday tomorrow? And if we have Freestyle Friday tomorrow, then we have... Should I do Saga Through Realms this Saturday? I don't know. I'm still kind of... I still kind of need to set things up. You know what? If I have the table set up, I can do it. If I don't, then maybe I can do a non-streamed one-shot. Like, do a non-streamed version. Because kind of the issue that I'm having is that it'd be hard to run D. And it'd be run...
Non-streamed version of what now? Sorry, I fucking
a
had audio.
A non-streamed one-shot. If I'm like... Because I don't have the setup fully set up.
Oh, do you have something in mind for one?
I do have a Lancer game that I could run. It's like I could run a Lancer game. So if I have the setup prepped, we could do Song of Three Realms. However, because it's kind of up in the air, I might just do a Lancer one shot. If I have the setup set up. Well, you know what we'll do. I'll lean towards the one shot unless Willow has anything she wants to do that day. If she wants to do anything on Saturday, or if you want to do anything on Saturday, that's fine. It's like you can take, I guess, you could take the TTRPG night slot this week if you feel like it. If not, I can run a Lancer one shot. A slight continuation of what we've done before. Because yeah, I don't know if I'll have my I kind of want to do the setup before I do a TTRPG stream, because then it wouldn't be as awkward for me to roll dice and manage a stream at the same time. Yeah. So that means I'll have to have something else on Saturday, which means Saturday will not be the nighttime slot like I said it was going to be earlier. Instead, I'll just do something at around the same time as this stream in terms of timing. I'll try for that, and then later in the night we can maybe do a TTRPG thing, or just vibe. I'm good either way. That said, yeah, tomorrow Freestyle Friday, so it could be anything. Hey Twitch, you can find me on YouTube. Hey YouTube, you can find me on Twitch. I'm making art again on Blue Sky, slowly but surely. If you want to support me, there's Ko-Fi. If you want to support bad decisions and fashion choices, there's Throne, and I don't know what else. Oh no, goodbye. I'm gonna take a shower now. Oh, I slightly fucked up.
Oh?
I leaned over to end the stream on a completely different thing that I couldn't do that on. Okay, where? Hello chat, I'm having some fucking difficulty ending stream. Give me a moment. Like. Okay. Okay, I can end it now. Yeah. Look, I'm a professional. Don't worry about it. See ya.